I said it once before, folks, but here, I'll say it again. This is Brody. It's February. It's the weekend. And now it's time for your bottom 10. Well, it's February 18th, 2023. Thanks for joining me. Today, the 208 of you amazing subscribers, fans of Magic the Gathering, who love the game as much as we do, the Freetreons and the Patreons, Smash Jackson, Garen Jotter, Dusty Cully, Murray Cooper, Coin Palmer, Roy, Tyler Friesen, Tyler Harrison, Kyle Mears, the MTG Moxman, the Earl of Drummer. Shout out to you, Prime 406 Games, Mr. DJ Long, the Dual Brain, and any of those of you folks tuning in on The Juice. The Juice is in the house, and the house is in the juice. Folks, it's Brody. Let's go. Let's get ready to run this list. So we're not going to miss a thing since the last time we came to bring you another amazing video. Before we do that, me and my cousin Jimmy have to give a dishonorable mention to this card. No, get it out of here. This card's not even getting a dishonorable mention. We're giving the dishonorable mention to none other than Phantasmal Sphere. Phantasmal Sphere was coming in way down at the bottom of the reserve list the last time we did this. Nobody cares about this card. This brings us to the very first card on our list this week. It's Kookus. Kookus is $1, and it's a card that's red, and it's from Visions. It'll cost you $1 to get this card into your collection, or 83 euro cent. Say it with me now, folks. For 2 red and 3, this red Dijin has Trample. It's a 3/5, and during your upkeep, if you do not control at least one keeper of Kookus, this little goblin guy over here, Kookus deals 3 damage to you and attacks this turn if able. 1 red, it's got fire breathing, give it +1/0 until end of turn. The creature type is interesting for a fact. The 3/5 and the Jijin, it's on the reserve list. It's coming in at number 10, so we're buying it. Which brings us to the next card on our list is this card, Splintering Wind. Splintering Wind will cost you 90 cents to get a copy into your collection, or €1, 17 euro cent. And I like this card. It's way down at the bottom. It's from Alliances. It's an R2, which is kind of a strange rarity, but this card, nonetheless, it's in green, and it costs you 2 green and 2 for this enchantment card. Listen to me, folks. Say it with me. Pay 1 green and 2. Splintering Wind deals a damage to target creature. Seems all right. Put a Splinter token into play. Treat this token as a 1/1 green creature with flying and cumulative upkeep 1 green. Huh? If this token leaves play, it deals 1 damage to you and each creature you control. What? How could this be good? Dino deck where the dinos could get enraged over these little splintering 1/1s doing damage all over the place, giving them triggers, polymorph triggers, raptor triggers. There's a lot of uses we can get out of this Splintering Wind, and it's way down at the bottom end of the reserve list, so we're buying it. Which brings us to the next card on our list is this boy, Veldrane of Sengir. This card's coming in way down at the bottom end of the reserve list, but we like the lore on this card. It's 99 cents or €1, 21 euro cent to get this card into your collection. It's been bottoming down in price, and if you look at the chart here, folks, you can tell that this sucker is on sale. Why do we like this card? This 5/5 legend from Homelands creature. For 2 black and 5, it costs 7. Big mana costs don't necessarily mean bad things these days. There's a lot of reasons why you could sacrifice a creature with a large mana cost to cards like Carrion or any other effects like the Neoform effect. There's a few good reasons to have a creature with a large mana cost, but nevertheless, let's read the card. The Summon Legend from the Homelands block can pay 2 black and 1 to get Forest Walk and minus 3/0 until end of turn. Poor foolish Veldrane, he goes wherever the Baron wills him. One day he'll go to die. Halina, Dwarven Trader. Why do we like this card? The Yavimaya, Cradle of Growth, with the printing of a land that makes all other lands in play also forests. So you combine the Veldrane of Sengir with a Vorpal Sword or any sword of the type that could do damage to a player. All of a sudden, this forest walking sub-in legend from the Homeland set becomes unblockable in a 4-player game. We like this card, and it's way down at the bottom of the reserve list with tons of flavor, sprinkling it into the bottom of the reserve list. So we're sprinkling a little bit of the Veldrane of Sengir into our collection here, which brings us to the next card on our list is this card. Get out of here. Get out of the hall, Brody. You're disrupting the class. You can't talk about reserve list cards that no one cares about in front of everybody. Get out in the hall. In fact, get out in the hall of Gemstone. This card's a little expensive, but it's at the bottom end of the reserve list. And say it with me, folks, $17.30 or 14 euros 22 euro cent. You can get this green Mirage enchantment into your collection. It costs you 2 green and 1 colorless enchant world, which is very interesting. During each player's upkeep, that player chooses a color. Until end of turn, each mana producing land produces mana of the chosen color instead of its normal color. What? This card is super relevant. If you're playing mono green, it can basically shut down 1 or more players at the table. If you're playing against opponents whose decks are really greedy and color dependent, this card can pretty much lock their lands out of that color or fix your own mana. It's a little bit pricey, so don't buy too many of these. It's the Hall of Gemstones, and it's way on the bottom of the reserve list, so we're buying it. Brody, can you get out of the hall? No, back in the hall with you. Back down the Dream Halls. From one hall to the next hall, this card is all that. The Dream Halls card costs you $28.63 to get it into your collection, or 23 euros 17 euro cent. Why do we like this card? It's a stronghold card. It's on the reserve list. It's been trending down in price for quite a long time, and it's even seen an all-time high of about 75 bucks. The Dream Halls card was part of a Turbo Sphere fog deck that would use a combination of this card to auto-cast cards out of your hand to lobotomize your opponent and then recur that effect over and loop it and do it again and again. The Dream Halls card costs you 2 blue and 3, and it's an enchantment card which says, instead of paying the casting cost for a spell of any color, its caster may choose a card and discard a card that shares at least 1 color with that spell. If the spell has X in its casting cost, X is 0. Within, without. This is a card we've had our eye on for quite a while, and it's been drifting down in price so much that I think it's almost about time to think about buy listing for a copy of this card. It's way at the bottom end of the reserve list, so we're buying it. Which brings us to the next card on our list. We want to get a copy of all these original Legends rares, and that's not reason enough for you to pick up a copy. I don't know what is, but I've got my eye on one of these. I'm not sure if I'm going to pick one up straight away or try and get a really good copy of it, but this sucker's is way down at the bottom end of the reserve list where no one cares about him. He's a 4/4 Demir boy, so he's 2 blue, 2 black, and 3 for a 4/4 legend. He's got first strike, and creatures with Swamp Walk may be blocked as if they did not have this ability. I can't help but think this might be relevant in a zombie build in some way, shape, or form. I'm not sure how this could be bad, but it seems like it could be really good in certain situations. It's a legend, it's a 4/4, it's got good stats, it's first strike, and the nostalgia, especially the art on this by Christopher Rush, means it's got to go into our collection at some point in time. It's on the bottom end of the reserve list, so we're buying it. Which brings us to the next card on our list, folks. It's this card. Another legend, Gosta Dirk. Like, if there was ever a creature with Dirk in his name, Gosta's got to be the one we add to our collection. This guy's amazing legendary art, and we're going to see maybe more than one legendary on the bottom 10 of the reserve list this week. But this Gosta Dirk will cost you $26.94 to get it into your collection, or 24 euros 90 euro cent. Another 4/4 with first strike, and seems to be the counterpart to Drago, except with Island Walk. Creatures with Island Walk may be blocked as though they did not have this ability. Gosta Dirk is Azorius, cost you 2 blue and 2 white and 3 to get him into your collection. The art by Richard Thomas from 1994 really shines. It's on the bottom end of the reserve list, so we're buying it. Which brings us to another card on our list, and I can never discourage you folks from getting a little real estate into your collection, which brings us to this card. It's the Thawing Glaciers from Alliances. It's drifting down over the last little while to $21.57. It'll cost you 17 euros and 2 euro cent to get the Glaciers into your collection. Why do we like this card? Well, it's easy to say. Real estate is never a bad thing in Magic the Gathering. This rare has seen a couple of bump ups in price in its history, and it's a card that seems useful in a 4-color build or even a 2-color build. Let's read it. It comes into play tapped. You can pay 1 and tap it, search your library for a basic land, put it into play tapped, which does not count towards your 1 land per turn limit. Well, that sounds pretty good to me. Shuffle your library afterwards, and at end of turn, return Thawing Glaciers to its owner's hand. Okay, this seems pretty good, so it bounces itself, but not exactly. It does it at the end of turn. So if you've got a way to untap this and do it again and again, it's basically a search engine for your deck. It's way down at the bottom end of the reserve list. I think if you had a card like Seedborn Muse that can untap lands at any given time, you might be able to do this on your opponent's turn, maybe twice. It's way down at the bottom of the reserve list, so we're buying it. Which brings us to the number 2 card on our list this week. It's got to be this card. Didgeridoo. This card's been spiked up a couple of times. It's on the reserve list. It's an instrument from the Homelands block. It summons Minotaurs and it costs you 1 colorless mana. It's $13.71 to get a copy of this into your collection, or 12 euros 93 euro cent. It's popular because there's many ways to change creatures into a creature type of your choosing, including Minotaur, or maybe just a changeling type mechanic that assumes that creatures are all creature types. It seems pretty powerful considering for 1 mana you can put this onto the battlefield, and for 3 at instant speed you get to take a Minotaur directly from your hand and put it into play as though it were just summoned. Treat this as though it were just summoned. Play the song of he who delivered us. Play the song of pharaohs, Omata and Abashaman. This card's got great flavor, and Brody's seriously sitting back and waiting for a really strong Angrath creature card to be printed at some period of time that we can play. I just see it coming up in the future sometime. I feel we're going to get a strong Angrath creature, and Minotaurs are going to be bullish. I am sitting on a few copies of the Didgeridoo myself, but it's way at the bottom end of the reserve list, so we're picking it up. 1 copy. Now, before we get to the number 1 card on our list this week, I really want to say a special shout out and a thank you to you folks, the 208 of you amazing subscribers who love the game of Magic the Gathering as much as I do. Thanks for smashing that like and the brotification bell. We appreciate each and every one of you folks who are watching. And the number 1 card on our list, on Brody's bottom 10 reserve list cards that no one cares about, is this card. Selenia, the Dark Angel. Wow, she's an angel creature from Tempest block who'll cost $11.49 to get a copy of this amazing card into our collection, or 4 euros and 90 euro cent. Selenia, the Dark Angel, she costs 1 black, 1 white, and 3, so she's very easy to cast, is a 3/3, and has flying. This legendary creature counts as an angel and has this amazing ability: pay 2 life, return Selenia to owner's hand. Wow, so a blink effect right on this legendary angel creature. I am the light, I am the dark. I must give my life to serve. Not even death can release me. Selenia the Dark Angel. She's an amazing creature with amazing art by Matthew Wilson. This card is coming in way down at the bottom end of the reserve list, so we're buying it. Who knew Alphonso Investments was checking the card prices on these reserve list stinkers that smell so sweet when you hold them to your feet? I'd like to thank each and every one of you folks for watching. The Patreons and the free Treons: Smash Jackson, Garen Jotter, Dusty Cully, Murray Cooper, Coin Palmer, Roy, Tyler Friesen, Tyler Harrison, the Moxman, Earl of Drummer, Colliers, Prime 406 Games, and Mr. DJ Longhair. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll talk to you again soon.